any type of money that just came my way. Tax returns. I made a pact with myself to put it into my student loans. As painful as that was, if I didn't do that, I would not be here right now saying that I'm debt free.
Hello and welcome to Practical Personal Finance, where you get the information you need to understand and succeed with money. I'm Andrew Shear, and today I'll be joined by Will Ibekwe for a debt-free story. Will is a product manager for CapitalOne who lives in Southern California. He got his bachelor's degree in math and computer science at University of California, Riverside, and his master's degree in information systems management at Carnegie Mellon University. Will enjoys working as part of a team, and a fun fact about his life is that he immigrated to the United States from Nigeria at a young age. And now, without any further delay, here's my conversation with Will Ibekwe. Will, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today and share your debt-free story with all of us. Let's start with the big questions right at the top. How much did you pay off? What type of debt was it, and how long did it take?
Yeah, so I paid off in a matter of 5 years. I was able to pay off 108,000 in student loans, 15,000 in credit card debt, and 20,000 in my auto loans, and that was all in 5 years.
Holy cow. So if I'm doing my math right, that's $143,000 paid off in 5 years. What is it that got you started on this debt-free journey?
So when I graduated from the university, or when I graduated from Carnegie Mellon University, I saw the amount of debt that I was in. And, as much as I was excited to start my career, I was not so excited about having to pay all this off. And so because of that, and because of really talking to folks and really trying to understand the gravity of my situation, I decided to not take the traditional route that, the rest of my classmates took, of getting a high-rise apartment after their graduation, and just focus on paying this debt off. If I can pay this off, the sooner I'll be able to be in a better position coming out of that, kind of out of this mountain of debt that I had. So that was kind of where it all started, my motivation behind it, and what the things that I did to kind of tackle that.
Did you sell anything throughout the process to help you knock out some of the debt?
I did not sell anything. I didn't really have anything that I owned to sell at the time. So no, I didn't sell anything.
Take me through your monthly budget. What are some of your biggest line items, and how much are you spending in those areas?
So now that I'm debt free, I really don't have too much when it comes to budgeting. The only thing that I'm budgeting right now, especially during COVID, that I'm staying with my parents at the moment, is food, eating out, and monthly subscriptions. And that, food and eating out is comprised of probably $400 a month. And my subscriptions are probably $50 a month. So really $450 is my expenses every single month right now.
Man, that's really keeping it to a minimum. What about your transportation situation? How are you getting around?
So I have a beautiful Lexus IS 2015. I really love this car. Unfortunately, the gas isn't too, or the MPG isn't too high on my car, but I really love the car, and that's kind of how I get around. I haven't really been using it much because we're in a pandemic and we don't really go out these days. But yeah, if I need to go to the store or something, that's what I use to get around.
Man, that's an awesome car. What was the most difficult part about paying off all of those student loans?
For me, coming out of grad school, it was consistency. The first year, I did a lot of spending money in every which way and things that I probably didn't need to be spending my money on, specifically because I had this goal in mind. So what I ended up doing was to kind of combat that was really focusing on like being very intimate with that goal and doing whatever I needed to do to make sure that all the actions that I made on a daily basis kind of gravitated around that goal of paying off this debt. And so I had a spreadsheet for my student loans that every time I had a payment, I made a payment, I put it on that spreadsheet. And that spreadsheet kind of told me, like, based off of how much I'm paying a month, this is when I'm going to be debt free for my student loans, as well as the transactions of all the payments that I've made thus far. And that has kind of kept me going and being in terms of being consistent with my goal of paying those loans off, because I see it every day. I look at this thing every day, and I make sure that whatever money comes in, the first place it goes is to student loans and to that transaction sheet.
What have you learned about yourself from going through this process?
I learned that, well, two things. There's two things that I've learned. I learned I can be very consistent with goals if I visualize them on a consistent basis. I think that is the number one important thing for me, is that I need to be able to visualize what it looks like at the end of my destination for that goal. And if I can't do that, I'm not going to be able to have a strategy to hit that goal. And the other thing that I learned was that I don't really need a lot. All of these things that we have, like speakers, TVs in each room. I've gone to my friends' apartments, and it fascinates me to see how much of stuff they have. And why they have it. When I ask them why, they tell me, oh, because it's cool, or because it's the latest and I just like technology. But we don't really need that stuff. At least for me, I don't need that stuff. And so really sitting down and trying to figure out what it is that I need and what it is that I want kind of helped me differentiate buying things frivolously, instead of using that money to pay off loans.
Now, if you just had to choose one thing, what would you say was the key to getting out of debt?
The key, I would say the one thing that helped me get out of debt was any excess money that came my way, whether it was bonuses, gift cards, any type of money that just came my way, tax returns. I made a pact with myself to put it into my student loans. As painful as that was, if I didn't do that, I would not be here right now saying that I'm debt free.
Are there any income boosting strategies that you've used over the past 5 years and would recommend to others?
Yeah, I mean, during this time to kind of supplement my income, I did a lot of different odd jobs, either, through this company called Appin that gave me different tasks to do online. I was a tutor. I taught a class in a community college a couple of years during this time as well. So there was a lot of things that I was using my skills to make money on the side that, again, supplemented to that income that I had, so that I could pay my debt down faster.
Cool. And what was that app called?
Appen, Appen. It's actually a website that it's an agency website that has a bunch of online tasks, surveys, things of that nature that uh, people are able to go and do and make money doing it.
I bet someone's going to find that really useful. So, what about expense reduction strategies? What else have you done besides moving back in with family?
I had to really take a deep dive of my expenses, my subscriptions, my just everything that was coming out of my bank account, and really taking inventory about on that. And eventually, I started seeing that some of these subscriptions, I could save money if I switched from a monthly basis to an annual basis. In fact, like if we look at, for example, Hulu was $5.99, or I think that's how much it was a month. And if I were to switch to a monthly subscription, it was $40. So you can, or sorry, yearly subscription, it was $40. So for the whole year, I'm paying for $40 for Hulu one time within that year, and I don't have to pay that subscription ever again throughout the rest of that year. And so I started thinking, what are some of these other subscriptions that I can pay on an annual basis? And then I started looking down the list. My car insurance, my renter's insurance, they were all monthly subscriptions. But if I were to switch to annual, uh, I would save upwards of 15 to 20% on those subscriptions by just switching over to an annual subscription rather than a monthly subscription. So I did all that and saved a lot in terms of expenses that were coming into my bank account.
How do you feel like the COVID-19 pandemic affected your debt payoff strategy?
It helped out a lot. Like I said before, I moved back home with my parents. So that saved about $1,500 a month with rent and utilities a month. So I would use that money to pay off my student loans. And so, like, coming back to my parents' home, I don't really have to cook much. There's no place for me to go and eat out since we're in a pandemic. So a lot of the money that I would have used to just spend if I was on my own on the East Coast, I I used to pay off my student loans, and so I was paying because of the pandemic. I was paying an extra $1,500 to $2,000 a month, which expedited the rate of which I would be debt free from my student loans and other debts I had. So throughout the whole entire pandemic, it was helpful.
How does it feel now to be out from under the burden of your student loans and all of your other debt?
It feels great. It feels great. I'm starting to look into a lot of different opportunities of investments. Something I didn't wasn't even really thinking about before. Buying a house and taking vacations. So like leisure stuff that I didn't even fathom being able to do the past 5 years. I had the opportunity. I have the opportunity now to do it and not have to worry about where that money is coming from. So it's a great feeling to see all the opportunities of wealth building and leisure that I have around me.
Speaking of leisure, are you doing anything special or buying yourself something cool to celebrate becoming debt free?
Yeah, I bought these headphones actually. These Bose headphones. It's been a long time since I spent $300 on anything, and so I was kind of reluctant at first. But I said, you know what? I have the $300. It's not like I'm borrowing it. Um, and I hit a huge milestone of being debt free. Why not? And so, that's why I ended up buying these things.
That's awesome, man. Last but not least, if you could go back 5 years ago to when you first started your debt free journey and tell yourself one thing, what would it be?
I would tell myself it's worth it. keep doing what you're doing. It's worth it. I think a lot of the times throughout these past 5 years, I did slip up every now and then, only because I was so frustrated about like when this debt freedom is going to happen, where I'll be, where I'll end up being, and just worried about the future instead of focusing on the now. And if I had that constant reminder, I probably would have been in a better situation than I am now. Although right now I am in a good situation, I would still go back and say, like, to myself 5 years ago, just to be consistent and tell myself that it's worth it. All of this is worth it.
I want to thank my friend Will Ibekwe for taking the time to tell me his debt-free story. I just love how he used that spreadsheet to keep track of every single payment toward his student loans. Being able to look back at all the progress you've made so far is such a valuable motivational tool. Have you recently become debt-free? Would you like to share your story and help inspire others? Leave a comment down below or shoot me a message on Instagram. If you enjoyed Will's story, maybe you'll enjoy Andrea's. Click right here to learn about how she paid off over $30,000 and became debt-free at age 23. And if you'd like to show your support for my channel, click right here to become a subscriber. As always, thanks for watching. I'm Andrew Scheer, and I'll see you next time.